Hey everybody, I'm Abel K, and this is Cigar Vlog. So, a little bit different video today because I have a new batch of cigars that hasn't really had enough time in the humidor to actually behave when smoking for review. So I figured to talk about this bad boy, the lighter that came with it, and the difference between butane lighters and petrol lighters. Now, I'm not going to go too much in depth as to the brand and model of the actual butane lighter because never fails, every time you get a new catalog you will find at least a half a dozen new models from as many different new brands, and it's very spotty as to whether or not you're going to be able to get this particular brand or model of lighter or this one or what have you. Now, another thing is I also don't actually know the brand of this particular lighter. Blah. I've been trying a couple of times to actually get this right because I keep screwing it up. Anyway, this is a single torch Calibre. This is a triple torch Jetline. This is a random, I don't know what in the hell it is because the promo actually didn't tell me. And it kind of doesn't matter because, like I said, you will find at least a half a dozen new models of butane lighter every time you get a new catalog. Then we have something like the Zippo, American Icon, a classic and an overall phenomenal lighter for the price. And this is probably the only lighter that actually has staying power and collectability that I'm aware of, because they've been around since about 1932. And the crazy thing about Zippos is they have been basically unchanged since a slight tweak to the case from the original prototype. In case you can't tell, there's actually a pretty much brass shell that gets covered with black paint or brushed chrome, whatever your particular flavor of the week happens to be. Whereas your butane lighters will run the gamut from being 100% metal, polymer with metal insert, to polymer or acrylic, I think it is, and metal. And it's just, there's so many different variations of butane lighter that trying to keep track of all of it is kind of a headache. So, Zippo, you open it up and this actually makes a natural flame, just your typical candle power flame. I don't actually have any gas in these because that's one of the problems with Zippos is there's nothing actually in here that keeps the fuel from evaporating out of here. It's just a friction fit to keep the main body from sliding out of the case. Provided I can get it in there right. And if you just leave it sitting on the shelf or in your pocket for like a week, you'll go spark up a cigar and you'll just have that happen. Because like I said, there's nothing in here to actually seal the fuel. Now if there's like a small rubber gasket or an O-ring or something around the outside, that would mitigate that, but at the same time that would also up the cost and make it a little bit less user-friendly. Main thing with this, there's a certain level of user maintenance that goes into it. But with regards to the Zippo, this is what's called a petrol lighter. It uses a naphthalene fuel source, and there are a lot of guys out there that will tell you that you can taste the fuel in the cigar. Me personally, I've never actually had any noticeable fuel taste. That said, every time I spark one of these up, there's that certain unmistakable Zippo smell that goes with it. But like I said, I've never actually had a problem with the taste. Some guys are real sensitive to that. Me, not so much. But if you're real sensitive to fuel taste, like if you ever taste a lighter fluid in a barbecue, you might want to steer away from these. Now, the flame on these is just a standard natural flame. It's the typical candle, wavy gravy, just whatever. Whereas your butane lighters, these can't have natural flames, or these can do these jet flames. And the jet flame, unlike the natural, offers a level of control over the burn that you would otherwise not have. That said, jet flames get hot, really hot, and it's very, very easy to absolutely just scorch the bejesus out of the end of your cigar. Another thing about these, you want to be kind of careful when it comes to the actual flame length, because as you look on this is actually kind of on the low end. If you crank this up, this does kind of turn into a lightsaber. So something to be wary of. Now, as far as burner number, we got a single burner, double burner, and I've seen all the way up to a quad burner. I haven't seen anything with 5. That's not a table lighter, which is like double the size and just gigantic. But the actual size and number of burners, well, the burners tend to be pretty universally sized, but the number makes for a very different overall footprint. And depending on the configuration, if you get like 2 in a straight line, this can actually add a level of precision control, or you can just go for like straight surface coverage, or you can opt to the single torch, and why are you wasting time? Seriously. Quality-wise, butane lighters kind of run the gamut. Zippos are kind of universal. They're a standard. They come from the same company. They've been coming from the same company for the last several decades. And they're kind of sort of a known quantity. Butanes can be very, very spotty. Like, for instance, this is a Colibri. And I'm not entirely sure Colibri actually makes this, but I've decided I'm going to stop wasting fuel on this, because this lighter, even though it was about $15 and should have been a relatively decently quality lighter, this thing has worked maybe 5 times since I've owned it. This, on the other hand, $10, got it out of the smoker friendly, and this thing has been an absolutely stellar performer. Lights up every time, shuts off right when you let off the button. That kind of leads me to this guy, which is brand new, and I've only lit one cigar with it, but I've had a situation where it does this kind of thing where I let off the gas and the flame keeps going for a second, and that's kind of a concern. So when it comes to actually picking a butane lighter, basically it's kind of hit or miss. You have to really talk to the guy behind the counter and get a feel for, 1, what's good, 2, what has the least amount of complaints about it, and also just how big and how hot you actually want your flame to be. I kind of half thought that sentence out. Anyway, it basically comes down to talk to the guy behind the counter and figure out what's had the least amount of complaints and what size you need it to be. It's like this single burner waste of time. That's great for small cigars, cigarettes, etc., etc. Whereas you get this triple burner, which is great for Gordos. But aside from that, it's kind of just, whatever looks cool or whatever feels nice in your hand. Well, anyway, whatever your particular taste in lighters may be, keep in mind that every lighter is going to be a little different, and not all lighters are going to perform the same, unless it's a Zippo. I might be a little biased for a Zippo. Well, anyway, I'm kind of running out of things to say about this because I kind of only half thought this out. I had it perfect in my head the night before, but actually doing it, I'm kind of running out of things to say. Other than, I hope everybody got at least a little bit of information about butane lighters versus petrol lighters. Now, like I said before, the petrol, there are some guys that are real sensitive to fuel flavors, and butanes do not actually have that flavor thing. Of course, if you're that sensitive to flavors, just light with cedar. Other than that, yeah, I'm kind of running out of things to say, and yeah, this is kind of a filler video because I'm pretty much waiting for cigars in the previous order to actually acclimate, so they'll behave on camera and not like splinter apart into 1,000 pieces. Anyway, I hope this was at least halfway educational. Next week I'll have a regular cigar vlog and hopefully not completely make a complete mess of this. Well, anyway, I hope everybody learned something. If you liked this video or any other video, like, subscribe, leave me a comment. Let me just how bad this video was, because this is bad. Oh, one last quick note here. The flame adjustment on this guy and this guy, you need to be paying attention to, because this one can adjust in your pocket, and this is a problem. This one is a screw drive and will not budge. So just keep an eye on your features, and yeah, if you like this video or anything, like, subscribe, leave me a comment. I know I completely screwed this up, but this is the 3rd time I've tried this. So, fuck it. That's all I got for this. I've got to think these out better. Well, anyway, I'll see you next time.